I've been in better moods before. Let's come out with it. I thought Michigan State basketball was going to win today. I thought their backs were against the wall against University of Michigan. I think both teams had an equal sense of urgency going in. Both teams were struggling. Michigan State's Big Ten title hopes were slipping away. They had to have the game. They didn't want to lose 3 in a row, 4 out of 5. And Michigan is looking at missing the tournament entirely if they lose today. You know, they've been terrible since December. So that was what was on the table. And I thought if Michigan State did lose today, that it would be a situation where both teams gave their best punch and Michigan just had the better game. That didn't happen. Michigan had the requisite energy that you need in a game like that, and Michigan State did not. And we see yet again the team falls on their face out of the gate. Once again, they're chasing their tails down double digits in the first half. No one understands why this keeps happening. Nobody. Once, okay. Twice, no problem. 3 times, it's getting bad. 4 out of the last 5 games, you're clawing from a double-digit deficit before the first media timeout's done in a couple of these cases. You had 3 points at the under 12 timeout. And it's not like Michigan was coming out just hitting daggers all over the court and you had any reason to sink your shoulders. Michigan State was embarrassing in this game. They had every reason to give their best shot, and they did not. It is disappointing, and it is an indictment on this group. You know, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, Tillman finished with a good box score at the end of the game. Didn't play well in the first half. And I'm sorry, I appreciate the stat padding at the end of these games where Winston, ekes out a 20-point game. It's like the quietest, worst 20-point game in the history of basketball, but he gets it. I appreciate Tillman going for 17 and 9 or whatever the hell it was. But those guys were all terrible when that game got out of hand. And then you're expending all the energy in the world to bring that deficit down. And we've seen it again and again and again. Stat of the game, stat of the season, stat of the last 2 years. Michigan State loses this game by 9. Cassius Winston plays 35 minutes, which means he's on the bench for 5 minutes. What happened in those 5 minutes in this 9-point loss? Michigan State got outscored by 13. Michigan State got outscored by 13 points in 5 minutes. Cassius Winston didn't have time to wipe the sweat off his forehead, and they were getting run out of the gym. You could tell Izzo wanted to get him more of a break, especially to the extent that he was being hounded in that game. This game more than ever, you needed Winston's minutes around 31, 32 tops in a perfect world. Izzo couldn't do it because Foster Loyer falls on his face every single time he gets put in there. And I'm not mad at Foster Loyer. I'm just mad at the universe. Foster Loyer, you could put me out there and I'd be terrible too. And it's not because I'm not trying. I'm sure Foster Loyer cares, and I'm sure his parents are proud of him. He can't play. He cannot play. That's the bottom line. He cannot play in a game like this. He went off against Eastern Michigan. He might have one decent game out of 20 against an opponent with a pulse. He's not a high-level Division I major conference college basketball player. He's not. And it's not like Raymar Morgan where, I get mad at the guy because you're just oozing with talent and you just don't bring it for whatever reason. Darrell Summers was another one. I'm not mad at Foster Loyer. And you know what? He was highly regarded nationally. It's hard to scream at Izzo, but I will say that the recruitment of Foster Loyer is one of the biggest conundrums in Michigan State history, certainly under the Izzo era, in terms of the recruiting trail. It is a disaster. It probably cost Michigan State a national title last year. You're telling me if they don't have a competent guard spelling Winston for 10 minutes who can score, like Corey Lucius back in the day when he would come on for Kalen Lucas, somebody like that, Travis Trice before he took over, a guy that can come in and give you 10, 12 points on a relatively consistent basis. You're telling me that wouldn't make a difference in the Final Four last year? You're telling me it wouldn't make a difference in a season where Cassius Winston can barely walk because his back is so sore from carrying this program for the last 2 years. You're telling me it wouldn't make a difference in some of these games that they're losing by a bucket, 2 buckets? Winston's exhausted. They don't have a competent point guard to spell him. And Izzo blew it on that recruitment, and I'm not even mad at Izzo. But Foster Loyer was not like a case of a guy Michigan State settled for because option A, B, C, and D went elsewhere. It'd be a little more understandable if Foster Loyer was like their 5th choice for that spot, for that scholarship, and they settled for him. You lose those battles. That happens. Foster Loyer was an early recruitment. They were all over Foster Loyer.